you feeling? Okay, well, that's why I'm here, huh? Yeah. I was told that you might have a cold or the flu, is that correct? Okay, well, we'll get you all checked out and see if we can get you feeling better soon, okay? Alright. Thank you so much for welcoming me in your home. I know you're not feeling great, but we'll get this all figured out, okay? Alright, so my name is Calliope, and I am the nurse that's going to be examining you, alright? So I'm just going to go ahead and sanitize my hands. I already have all my tools ready to go, so we will get that started. Here we go. It is bitterly cold out, isn't it? Yeah. I think the thermostat said it was a single degree Fahrenheit. 1 single degree. And with the winds, I'm sure it's well into the negative temperatures. Now, I'm not exactly sure about the state of your house or how old it is, but since it is so cold, do you have the cabinets open under your sinks? Okay. Yeah, when it's this cold, I have to do that at my house. We have to leave the heat running, and we have to allow the faucets to trickle so that the pipes don't freeze. Okay, so you do have, I was wondering if the heat was cranked a little in here. That's okay. All right. So, let's get started here. Okay, so if you wouldn't mind just telling me a little bit about what you're experiencing, what your symptoms are. Okay? Alright, so some sinus congestion, a bit of a runny nose, okay, postnasal drip, and a sore throat, okay. Anything else? Fatigue, okay. Are you experiencing any body aches at all? Does your body feel very heavy or feel like it's being pulled to the floor? Okay, not so much, maybe just a touch of stiffness. Yeah, I mean, if you've been laying around a bit, then that definitely happens. And have you noticed if you've had a fever at all? We will be checking, but I wasn't sure if you've noticed. Okay, and any other symptoms like chills, like cold sweats or anything? Okay, all right, very good. And how long has this been going on? Okay, a couple days. All right, and on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being not bothersome at all and 10 being the worst pain you've ever experienced, how bad is your symptoms? Okay. All right, very good. So I'd like to ask you just a few questions before we get into the actual examination. All right. So do you have any prior medical history, any health conditions, acute or chronic? Okay. All right. Okay, and what about your family? All right, so not much of a family history. Very good. Okay, and any allergies, food, environmental, medication? Okay. Very good. And are you currently taking any medications at all, including any vitamins or supplements? Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with a little vital check. Okay, we're going to look at your vital signs. So from this point onwards, to ascertain your condition, figure out what's going on, I will need to be touching you. Is that okay with you? Have your permission to do that? Okay, very good. Let's go ahead and start with a little temperature check. We can see if you're running a fever. All right. So if you wouldn't mind just opening your mouth for me, lifting up your tongue, and go ahead and just let your tongue rest on the thermometer here. And we'll wait just a few moments. Okay. Very good. All right, so certainly not running a temperature, which is good. So far, that's already telling me that hopefully this is not going to be a moderate or severe case. So let's go ahead and take your heart rate, okay? Do you have a preference as to which arm I take your heart rate with? Okay, very good. So I'm just going to put my index and middle fingers on your radial artery. And we're just going to count the beats here. Okay, all right. So that's pretty good. That is pretty good. And your respirations are also well within normal limits. Let's go ahead and take your blood pressure, okay? Let me grab my stethoscope first. Just going to pop that in. Right. And we'll grab the sphygmomanometer here. Okay, so I'm just going to use this on this arm here, all right? Get your blood pressure. Okay, let's see. Got the dial and stethoscope right in the crook of your elbow there. All right, let's go ahead and make sure that is all ready to go. Okay, so the cuff may become quite firm, all right? It might be a touch uncomfortable, but it doesn't last for very long. Go ahead and try that again. And down we go. Down. Okay. All right. Go ahead and take that off for you. Anything super crazy. Mercury. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and just do a general inspection of you, okay? So I'm going to get a little closer. I'm going to be looking primarily at the upper part of your body, since that's where you're having your issues, right? Wouldn't make any sense to look at your legs if we're mostly dealing with the issues with the face and the upper respiratory area, right? Okay, so I'm just going to just take a little look at you, okay? Look just a touch fatigued, but I'm not seeing anything that I would consider to be an issue. I imagine you're probably not getting a whole lot of sleep with your current ailment, huh? Okay. So let's go ahead. And just to be sure, I'm just going to take a little pen light and I'm just going to take a peek, okay? Let's take a little peek here. Alright. The things that we would be most concerned with right now is, of course, the flu, although right now I'm not thinking that that's a possibility. You don't have the body aches or the fever, but we also want to make sure that you don't have an infection, like a sinus infection. And make sure that there's no infection of the throat and the upper respiratory area in general. So we're just going to make sure that we look at everything applicable and just make sure. Okay. Alright. Doing okay so far? Okay, that's good. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pull out my otoscope real quick. And we're actually going to take a look inside your nose. Just have to put everything together. Just like that. Okay. So let's grab a speculum. Now, I won't be going inside the nose at all, but just for sanitation's sake. It also helps funnel the light into a smaller little area. Just snap that right on. Okay. You could just tip your head back for me. I'm just going to take a peek inside your nose. Okay. Right. Very good. Okay. Have you noticed any issues with your sense of taste or smell at all? Okay. Alright, I believe you, but I just want to double check. Let's see. Okay. My back. I've got a little bit of Vapor Rub, okay? So I want you to take a smell of this, right? Take a little smell. Smell that? Oh yeah, it's quite strong. Just want to make sure. You never be too careful. There we are. Alright. So I'm just going to get a new speculum. I definitely see that there is some mucus buildup in there, which doesn't surprise me considering the symptoms you've been having with the postnasal drip. Okay, I'm just going to take a little peek in your ears. Oftentimes when we're having issues with our nose and our throat, it can show up in our ears as well. So I'm just going to come to the side here. I'm just going to pull the ear up and back. And then I'm just going to take a little look here. Just taking a little peek into your ears. So it looks like there is just a touch of irritation, but nothing that I would consider troublesome. So I'm just going to put your ear back, and then I'm going to go to the other side. Just pull up and back. Okay, there we go. Alright. Yeah, so just a little redness, although that could be from really anything. A little bit of irritation, or even if you wear earphones, that can happen. Okay. Right, I'm gonna put your ear back. Okay, so that's good. That's good. So I'm just going to take a couple notes. Just jot a few things down. Okay. Let's take a look inside your mouth and let's look at your throat. So let me grab my little light here. Okay, if you could open your mouth wide for me. Just going to take a little peek here. Just look around a little bit. Okay. Alright. Do you happen to notice that you are getting any sores at the top of your mouth or even the sides? Okay, good. That's good. I know when I have an infection, as I get older, the way I know is that sores start forming at the top of my mouth. It's not very pleasant, but it is an easy way to tell that there's an infection going on. So now I'm going to use this tongue depressor here, and I'm going to be just pushing your tongue down, and then we're going to take a look at your throat, okay? Alright, so if you could just open your mouth. There we go. Okay, so alright, I see a little bit of redness there, a little bit of irritation. But I think overall that is certainly quite mild, which is good. Right, there's not really anything but just that little bit of redness. Okay. Alright. So just put that down. Now I think we're ticking off enough that we're getting away from infection and away from flu. But we'll keep going. So now I'm going to be palpating your frontal sinuses, the sinuses along your nose here, your maxillary sinuses, okay? I want you to tell me if you feel any pain or tenderness with this, alright? So I'm just going to first press. How is that? Okay, a a little irritating, right? And if I tap, 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 tap. Okay, that's worse. All right. So now I'm just going to come in along this area. All right. Just press, press, press. Okay. Press, press, press. How was that? Okay, yeah, not pleasant. All right, so there's definitely some things going on with your sinuses there. So let's go ahead and just do that little bit of tap, 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 tapping along there. How is this? Okay. Tap, 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 tap. All right, so sinuses are definitely tender. Definitely tender. Okay. I'm going to feel around your lymph nodes, okay? So I'm going to focus primarily on the ones around your ears, along your jaw, under here, your neck, down to your clavicle, okay? So I'm just going to come in and just feel around, prodded right here, down to the submental and submandibular. Okay, and let's do the cervical nodes along the neck. And along the clavicle here. Okay, very good. So there was just a little bit of distension right in this area, just a little. But I think with all the fluid that's going on, I can see that being pretty normal. I didn't feel any other signs of infection. So let me just go ahead and we'll finish off with a little bit of auscultation. Okay. So, oh, sounds like the heat kicked on. All right. So I'll just have to listen past the heat. Certainly don't want to ask you to turn it off when it's a single degree outside, right? Okay, so I'm just going to start with listening to your heart, okay? So just breathe normally for me. Okay, and I'm just going to come around here along your rib cage. Okay, very good. Let's take a listen to your lungs, all right? So when I prompt you, I want you to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, okay? Deep breath in and out. 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 So while you have that bit of mucus buildup in your nasal area, I'm not hearing that that's making any difference in your lungs, which is good. Right. Heart sounds are normal. Lungs are clear. Okay. Alright, so I think based on everything that we have gone over, everything we've examined, I can safely say that I believe you just have a cold, okay? Which is good. That means you don't need any prescription medicine, okay? Just some time and some rest. So I do have some different treatments that I can go over with you if you would like, okay? So colds are often treated with a mixture of home remedies and some medicine you can pick up at a pharmacy, but you don't necessarily need the medicine if you don't want. So as far as home treatment goes, for the sore throat, it would be pretty advantageous for you to do a salt rinse or a salt gargle. So if you put, let's say, about a teaspoon or half teaspoon to a teaspoon of salt in a cup, and you fill the rest of the cup with hot water, swirl it around a little bit, and then you can gargle that water, that salt water, and spit it out. I probably wouldn't swallow it because that doesn't sound extraordinarily pleasant. But that will help slough off any of that irritation, any of that possibly inflamed tissue. It helps soothe it, okay? And also, if you have some at home, a spoonful of honey also can help coat your throat and can help soothe that as well, okay? So another thing for your sinus congestion, for your runny nose, if you take a hot shower or bath and you add a few drops of a menthol-based oil, essential oil, when the steam heats up that oil, that menthol helps to open up your nasal passages, open your sinuses a little, and I think you'll find that you'll be able to breathe better. So when I say menthol oil, I mean like peppermint, spearmint, eucalyptus. I tend to use eucalyptus during this time. I'll put about 3 drops in the corner of my shower where water will not be hitting it so that it doesn't get washed away. And as the steam heats up, then the whole bathroom smells like eucalyptus. And that can certainly help open up your nasal and sinus areas. So another thing, you could certainly use a throat lozenge. They make some that are herbal or lemon and honey or menthol eucalyptus. Okay. And that'll help with nose, it'll help with your sinuses, and it'll help with your throat, okay? Sometimes they have a little analgesiac so that it numbs up your throat and then you don't feel that soreness anymore. And let's see, also vapor rub, like I have here. So vaporizing rub, like this one. This has camphor, eucalyptus oil, and menthol. Oftentimes the name brand stuff doesn't have the camphor, but I find that the camphor actually helps a lot more. So it's just a little petroleum-based product, and you put that on your chest. In the past, I've put it on my throat, and if it's really bad, I'll put just a little bit underneath my nasal passages. You don't want to go inside your nose at all, okay? And you want to make sure that when you put this on, that you don't have any heat that are close by, because it can intensify that heat and you run the risk of getting a burn from it. So no electric blankets, no hot water bottles, no hot packs around that area. Now, as far as the general stiffness, the vaporizing rub is also a topical analgesic. So you could also put this on your muscles that are sore, and that'll help as well. It's kind of like icy hot or absorbing in that way, okay? All right. Now, what also you could be doing is you could do a little sinus massage as well to help drain out what's going on in there. So sometimes if you want to tap, 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 tap on the sides of your nose, and then with your tongue, if you want to press up on your hard palate for a few seconds, release, press up, release, press up, you're kind of shaking that area loose of any fluid, okay? And just a little rub here and there can also help, okay? If it's too painful, I wouldn't worry about it, but that might help them clear up a little bit, okay? All right, so as far as medicine goes, I'll show you an example here. So we have a cold and flu severe medicine. Now, when you're working with medicine, you want to be careful because a lot of these have multiple medicines built in them. For example, this one, the main one is acetaminophen. And acetaminophen, or I believe the name brand would be Tylenol, pretty sure. So you want to be careful that you know what medicines you are taking. You don't want to accidentally take too much of a medicine. So for example, if you've taken acetaminophen because of your sore muscles, then you want to make sure you're not taking this medicine because it has that same ingredient in it, okay? We don't want to overdo it. We don't want to cause more problems, okay? Another thing that we have to be careful of is with some of these more severe medicines, some people are sensitive to some of the ingredients. So this phenylephrine ingredient here, that one some people can be very sensitive to, and some people have an allergy to it. Another thing is with the sensitivity, some people can get a racing heart or some anxiety with taking this medicine. I know because I'm one of them. I can't take medicine like this because it makes my heart speed up, and I don't want to do that. My heart's a little weak as is. So if you find that's the case, then you may want to downgrade on just a regular cold and flu medicine or skip this one entirely, okay? So just be aware that this might speed up your heart a little bit. You might get a little anxiety from it, and that's generally because of the medicines that are in this, okay? All right. Now, lastly, the most important things for you to do is to get lots of fluids and to rest, okay? Your body does its repairing and replenishing best when you are asleep, okay? And I actually have a couple of things for you here. So I've got 2 bottles here. This one, this is a cold water bottle. This is what I want you to start drinking out of so that you can get your full hydration, all right? So this one is, I believe this is 32 ounces, so you should be drinking at least 2 of these, okay? I want you to drink when you're thirsty, and I don't want you to overdo it unless you're finding that you're not really drinking that much at all. Then we want at least 2 of these, okay? And then the smaller one here, this is a hot water bottle, okay? So you can wrap it up in your blanket or lay it on top of your clothing. Do not put this directly on the skin, okay? And make sure you're not using it in one spot for more than 20 minutes. Check frequently so that you aren't accidentally burning yourself. I've done that many times, so it's not fun to have a burn mark in the imprint of a water bottle. But this one will help with the aches and pains, okay? So again, just be careful that you're not using it with any of the vaporizing rub, if you choose to use that, and that you are keeping an eye on where it's placed and how long it's been there. So I wouldn't fall asleep with this one, okay? Okay, but you can certainly use this one for those aches and pains. If you put a hot water bottle, make sure it's properly insulated on your lower back, you'll find that you can feel that heat radiate all the way to your toes along the backs of your legs. It's a very, very cozy and comfortable feeling, let me tell you. That's a nice one. And finally, if you choose to take any supplements to help keep your immune system up, the ones that would be most helpful are vitamin D, zinc, and vitamin C, okay? Of the 3, vitamin D and zinc are the most important. Vitamin C is certainly helpful, but if you don't have that one on hand, then that's fine. Do be aware that if you want to get your vitamin C from fruit juice, that because there's such a high natural sugar content in those juices, you're not really getting that much vitamin C in actuality. Yeah, it's a lot of sugar, but a little bit of a supplement can help perk you up a little bit, okay? It's not necessary, but if you choose to, it might help a little, okay? All right, so I think I've given you quite a bit of information to digest, right? Yeah. So I think that about covers it. Now, I know you're having a lot of issues with your sinuses. If you'd like, before I go, I can give you a little sinus massage to help start draining that out, okay? All right, let me go ahead and just get a little closer. There we go. A little more comfortable. All right, so just go ahead and start with a very gentle little bit of tapping here. Very, very gentle. We're mostly going to focus on the maxillary sinuses and the ethmoid sinuses right around here, okay? Just doing very gentle. Not even exactly tapping, but pressure. Going to work over here. There we go. Very good. We're just trying to loosen that up a bit. Just trying to loosen that area up. Hopefully get that congestion down. Do you have a humidifier running by any chance? Okay. Well, certainly some moist air couldn't hurt, especially as we are running the heaters quite a lot right now. So if you didn't have a humidifier, then an old-fashioned way to do it is get a coffee can that's real metal, or a foil pan like the one-time use ones you find at the grocery store, and fill it with water and put it by your vent so that the heat can help that water evaporate and add humidity. Also, if you have a lot of house plants in your house, that'll also create a lot of humidity as well. But that foil pan trick is something that I have to do with my house. Unfortunately, our furnace doesn't allow us to run a humidifier, so we have to put foil pans of water on the vents. We have floor vents in our house. It's a big old Victorian house. I'm going to press, 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 press. How you doing? Okay. Press. Want to make sure I'm not doing more harm than good. This is just very gentle. Very gentle. It's simple, you can do at home. And even if you're not having sinus pressure and congestion, this is nice to do anyway. So I hope after I leave you get a lot of good rest, okay? Throw on something in the background and just take a little nap. And press, 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 press. There we go. Very good. Press, press, press. Okay, just rubbing bilaterally and tandem. Okay, how is that? Alright, a little bit better. Imagine after that you're probably pretty sleepy, huh? I know I would be if someone was rubbing along my face. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and sign off on this. Luckily, you don't need any prescriptions. Now, if this continues longer than a week, you can certainly either go into one of those urgent care facilities, make an appointment with your regular doctor, or you can ask me to come back if you want, and then we can start figuring out if maybe you're developing a sinus infection or something like that. Okay? Alright, so you have any other questions for me? Okay, very good. So thank you so much for allowing me into your home, and I hope that you feel much better pretty quickly, okay? I hope you have a